Hello everybody, my name is Shankarji. Now we'll be studying chapter 1, what, where, how and when. So the title of the chapter itself indicates what, where, how and when. These are basic questions. So what's there in the news, what's there on the radio, what's there on the TV, on the television, what's there on the internet. See, the first topic is finding out what happened through media, like various media. How do you find out what happened through various media, like newspapers, radio, television, internet, WhatsApp or applications which is there on the media. Let's consider a situation in our daily lives. Like say for example, a person, a student, maybe it can be me, it can be you, it can be anybody. A person is reading newspapers and he or she is reading an article, and suddenly he or she comes across 100 years ago something happened, some event happened 100 years ago. That person, we are prompt to think like, wow, 100 years ago. We don't know, we can't remember what happened 5 years ago exactly. Then how do we know that on this particular date, on this particular time, something happened exactly, precisely 100 years ago? How? Because of recorded data. That's why we need history. Because without history, without written data, you can't even speak. What will you say? Like I said, if you cannot if you cannot record the date, the time, and the other details, in short, if you cannot log, we call it logs, if you cannot log your activity on a particular date and time exactly, then what will you know about history? You will know nothing about history. How do we know it? By recorded data from various historians. Like we have a career, like we have engineers, we have doctors, we have teachers. Similarly, a lot of people make wonderful careers as historians. So if you want to try your career as historians, you will be highly valuable because you will be invited to record data. Like say, suppose right now, if there's a G8 summit going on. G8 is a summit of the top 8 developed countries of the whole world. Sometimes if G20 summit is there, even India is included in that meeting. So suppose a G8 meeting is going on or a G20 meeting is going on. They held a press conference on this day, on this venue, this location, this time. So everything will be recorded, and it might be video recording, it might be audio recording, it might be everything. It's total, complete recording. So now since we are living in the 21st century, we are able to use advanced technology. But 100 years ago, most of the technology which we are using nowadays was not there. So the main way of recording data was to write, use paper pencil and paper pen and note it down. How do we know when something happened exactly 100 years ago? By the recorded data from various historians. Historians have recorded that World War I occurred from 1914 to 1918. Similarly, World War II occurred from 1939 to 1945. Like that. Many things. And the United Nations was formed in 1945. Like that. So you have each and every data in recorded history. When we are studying history, it's very important to know recorded history and prehistory. It's also known as pre-recorded history, also known as simply prehistory and history. So history is a time from 10,000 years ago till now, because everything has been recorded in some way or the other. Before 10,000 years, very few things were recorded. The data was not preserved. So that's why it was known as pre-recorded history. What can we know about the past? Almost everything. We know almost everything about us because we are living in the present. But we don't know about the future, how the future human beings will be. But we can guess by the way we are living in the present. We can guess that okay, maybe the future humans will be like that. We can predict, we can analyze. So similarly, what about the past? The past cannot be changed. The past is already there. But you can only know about the past. You cannot go there. You can travel through time using your mind, but you can only imagine things. But if there was a time machine, in reality, you could have gone there and you could have felt it really, like they show in the movies. But that's the fun part. But nevertheless, you can still travel through time using mind, and you can imagine the life which happened so many years ago by studying history. What can we know about the past? Almost everything. For example, what kind of food those people ate, what kind of clothes those people wore, houses, what kind of houses they used to live in, and how were the civilizations, and like in other words, how were their societies, or the hierarchy of the societies, like the level of their societies or the order of their societies, and how were their environment, like how were they using their natural environment or even artificial environments. And we can also learn about their relationships with their neighboring cultures. For example, when we are studying about the Greeks, how did the Greeks interact with their neighboring cultures, like the Romans, how were the Greeks dealing with their surrounding neighbors, like for example the Romans, or maybe the Macedonians, like the people of southern to eastern Europe, like that. So we can learn about their various aspects and a lot more other stuff, etc. So what can we know about the past? Almost everything, except that we cannot be there. It just happened. We know for sure that those people lived, those kind of cultures existed, which are there no more, but we can only imagine it. We can feel to some extent, we can imagine it. That's why in the movies they always do some periodic historical movies every now and then to make us feel the ancient, the bygone eras, the historical past. So what can we learn about the past? What can we know about the past? Almost everything. So where did people live? Now we'll study another concept, like where did people live in the beginning? In the beginning, people used to just roam around. They were just hunters and gatherers. That is, they were nomads. We as human beings, early human beings, we were just hunters and gatherers. We were just a little bit more than animals. We were just a better thinking animals than the others. But still, even our communication, our languages was not very developed. Then we slowly started developing the languages. So what I'm saying is, it took us thousands of years to make us modern human beings, modern humans. It's not just a one-day journey, it's a journey of thousands of years. We should really appreciate each and every human being's contribution to studying the history or towards the history of mankind. Where did people live in the beginning? They were hunters and gatherers. They didn't have any fixed locations. They used to live in caves, they used to live in forests, they used to live on treetops, maybe at the base of large trees. They used to dig some holes inside trees. They used to live inside the large trees. Anywhere, they were nomads. Even now we can find nomadic people. Normally they are known as the gypsies. They are there everywhere. They build tents for a few days, maybe for 1 or 2 months or for 3 months. They live in a particular area. They live, and then they feel, okay, fine, we should move to some other area to find food and other resources. So yes, all of the early human beings were nomads. They were hunters and gatherers. They used to hunt animals. They used to cut some plants. They used to experiment with plants. Okay, can we eat this? Can we eat that? Slowly we learned a lot. We learned how to make tools. We learned how to develop our language for better signaling and better form of communication. A lot of things. Each and every aspect is very, very important. Like I said, studying history makes us truly humans, because we know from where we came, because we can understand clearly the source. Then we started settling down alongside various rivers and other convenient locations like plains, coastal areas, mountains. For example, the Ganges plains, which were very fertile, like the Indus River, the Brahmaputra River, the Ganga River, also known as the Ganges River, which is the longest river running in India. The Ganga River runs for around 2,700 kilometers. Because it's a perennial river, because it comes from the Himalayas mountains, from the snow-filled glaciers. The fresh water runs through the Ganges River. So people have thought, why go to other areas? Because water is life. What else can we ask more than fresh water from a great flowing river? Speaking of civilizations, how can we forget the ancient Egyptian civilization, great Nile River? So that's why Egypt is also known as the gift of the Nile. Imagine, the Sahara Desert is the largest desert in the whole world. The Nile River is the longest river in the whole world. It runs for 6,700 kilometers. Civilizations thrived in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It's an amazing thing. So without rivers, I would say more than 80% of history and civilizations wouldn't have occurred. The other remaining percent of civilizations existed alongside like small reservoirs like ponds, lakes, maybe mountain glaciers, mountains, plains, grasslands. But that's just the minority, maybe 25%. But 75% civilizations thrived along riversides. So we should be extremely thankful to the great rivers for giving us great lives and great civilizations and great history. For example, the Ganges plains, it's very fertile because wherever a river flows, like the Ganges or the Ganga, the land becomes very fertile. So then what happened? Human beings thought, why go for hunting and hunting plants and animals? Why spend too much energy? So human beings accidentally they found, okay, so they were planting some seeds and they were putting in the mud and they put some water, and after a few days, oh, the plants are growing up. And then they thought, oh, they watered it further, the plants grew even further. And wonderful, they discovered agriculture. More than 90% of the whole world is fed by agriculture, by the farmer. That's why we should be very thankful every time to the farmers worldwide, every time we eat food. Because even if you eat meat, it's just 10%, 90% you have to depend on the plants. And please don't waste food. Please eat only the food when you're hungry. Eat food when you're hungry. You can eat food, you can indulge in food for taste, that's fine, but please don't waste food, and always be thankful to the farmers. These plains, for example, the Ganges plains in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, these areas are very fertile. If you look, the rice fields, wheat fields, crop, you grow any crop, they are very fertile, they are of high quality, they are exported worldwide. So it's amazing. We should be very thankful to the rivers for giving us quality food. Like I said, more than 90% of the food is covered by the agriculture, by the farmers, by agriculture. That's why agriculture and dairy farming is known as the basic primary industry. Then human beings, along with agriculture, we learned about cattle farming. We learned to domesticate various animals. We learned to domesticate the cows, and we learned to milk from the cows. The goats, we learned to milk from the goats. We learned to milk from the camels. We domesticated camels for the desert areas. We also learned to domesticate horses for transport. And we also learned to domesticate the elephant for the heavy work, the heavy duty work. We human beings are really smart. I mean, we have learned to rule the whole world. We are the apex animal. We are the apex predator. And all this are recorded in history, which we study. And it's really fascinating. It gives us great honor to be as human beings. So we should be thankful to all human beings for their own contribution to our society. So it's a fascinating journey studying history.